Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. September 11th. Do you remember where you were at 19 years ago? Man, I sure do. I was working at church in St. Louis, and we happened to be, we called it a family weekend, and we had students staying at the student center, and then we were taking them to school. And I remember driving a couple students to school that morning, and I had the radio on. And it was early in the morning, 7 or 8, sometime in that time frame, and I remember hearing the jockeys, disc jockeys, saying, "Hey, it sounds like we got reports about a plane hitting a tower." And then it wasn't too long after that they came on again and said there's a second plane. And man, it just kind of kept compounding, and soon what seemed to be an accident turned into a very real fear of knowing that we've been attacked. And of course, as the events followed the day, I remember going back home and watching it all unfold on the news, watching the towers fall, and then hearing reports of the firefighters and the first responders who were risking everything to rescue people, and man, it's a very somber day. And so every September 11th, I remember those things. I remember the video, and I remember the things that I heard and saw, and I'm sure you do too. At least many of you that could remember 19 years ago. And so, this day I often just remember the men and women who risked it all to help those who were trapped. But the bigger thing that I remember, though, is that day, a big question was, where do we put our hope? I think our hope, in a lot of ways, our nation's hope was shattered because we were not untouchable. And I think that's a question for many of us still today. I'm reminded of what King David wrote in Psalm 20 in verse 7. In fact, today, I encourage you to go read Psalm 20. But I want to concentrate on verse 7. He says, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we put our trust in the name of the Lord." And I think that statement is still true today, because we can still trust in our nation's power, our nation's politics, our brand of politics. We trust in democracy. We trust in things that aren't God. We trust in our own bank account. And so the question is still today, who do you trust? Because everything else is sinking sand. Everything else will fall away except for God. And so David's statement, some trust in chariots, some trust in horses, but we put our trust in the name of the Lord. I think it's something we still all need to wrestle with. Where do you find your identity? And I think as we remember today, it's a question we all need to ask. Because this world's still going to erode away. But God will never erode away. So where do you put your trust? Where do you put your hope? I'm going to put my hope in the name of Jesus, because he is a solid rock. He's a solid foundation. Where everything else is sinking sand, he is the granite. He's the rock. And so think about those things today in the midst of remembering that tragic day that happened 19 years ago. All right. We'll talk to you a little bit later. Bye-bye.